Welcome to the channel and welcome back to another video. On this video, I want to give you 8 habits that keep people poor. My name is Eric and I manage smartmoneybro.com, which is a website where I help ordinary people like me and you be extraordinary with their money. I also help out real estate folks learn, manage, and grow their real estate portfolio. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing below and please smash the like button. It helps the channel grow, and that's what we want to do. Get this word out to as many people as possible. So with that said, let's jump into the 8 things that keep people poor. The number one habit that people have that keep them poor is they make a decision to pay their bills first. Now, you've got to make a conscious decision that every time you get paid, you're going to pay you first. Not the light bill, not the cable bill, not the cell phone bill, none of that. Number one is you pay you first on a regular basis. Now, how do you pay you? You invest your money in something that's appreciating, like stocks, bonds, index funds, mutual funds, ETFs, whatever. The purpose is you're paying the future you first. Number one, not your bills. If you want to pay your bills first, guess what? You're going to pay your bills for the rest of your life constantly, ongoing. You're always going to have a light bill and a electric and a gas bill and whatever bills you got, right? But you got one you. And one day, that one you who's young or younger now, you're going to be older and you're going to be wishing that you paid yourself first. So number one, the first habit that keeps people poor is they pay their bills before they pay themselves. And I'm telling you, it's better to pay yourself before you pay your bills. Now, number 2, the second habit that keeps people poor is people do not have an emergency savings to pull from. Things are going to happen. Things are going to go wrong. Something is going to break. You're going to have to replace something. You got to have yourself an emergency fund to pull from. People that don't have an emergency fund, it keeps them broke because every time something goes wrong, they have to rob from Peter to pay Paul. They have to do something or get in crisis mode to actually pay for the emergency. And when I say crisis mode, I mean they get the payday loan or the quick loan or whatever, just to kind of make ends meet real quick. Or they hurry up and swipe the credit card for something that they really don't want to swipe it for. The way to prevent that and to make sure that stuff, those emergencies that come up, don't make you poor and don't put you in crisis mode where you make bad decisions with money, is have an emergency fund. People that remain poor, they have a habit of creating funds for everything else except emergencies. So there's a fund for going to vacation next year to Cancun or wherever. There's a fund to do all types of things: clothes, shoes, purses, hair, whatever it may be. There's funds for everything, but not an emergency. Now, if you want to remain poor or be poor, don't have an emergency fund, because that's a habit of poor people. You have to turn that around and say, look, I don't want to live like that. Let me take out some time to get me at least $2,000 set to the side so I have an emergency fund in case something goes wrong. At least a couple of $1,000s. Number 3, the third habit that keeps people poor is they don't write a budget. No written, unique budget every month will cause you to be poor. And the reason is this: the budget is there to make you control your money, to have some type of control over where every single dollar is spent. Now, if you get paid on Friday and by Monday you paid all your bills, you paid yourself, paid all your bills, you have nothing left, and you haven't written down what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, and 2 weeks is coming up and you know you got to pay for this in 2 weeks, there's so much stress involved with that. So you want to get out of that habit. You want to have a budget every single month so you can tell every single dollar what to do on paper at the beginning of the month or before you get paid. Number 4, the fourth habit that keeps people poor is not having patience with money. In other words, not able to delay pleasure with money. See something you like, you go buy it immediately. Grocery stores, retail stores, they're all set up for people that aren't able to delay pleasure, right? Because right when you go to each line, there's candy and there's candy bars and there's those little impulse buys, because you have to be disciplined enough to be patient with money and delay pleasure. That means don't buy that pair of shoes until you get the money to buy the pair of shoes. Don't do things before you actually have the money to do them. The whole point of credit cards is to play on the idea that people cannot delay pleasure. So if you want to remain poor, keep that habit going where you have no patience with money, you can't wait it out, and you can't delay pleasure. Number 5, the 5th habit that keeps people poor is the inability or the unwillingness to learn about money. Books, podcasts, YouTube, there's a lot of ways you can learn about money today that don't involve opening a book and reading it. Now, I suggest you read a book a month about money if you really want to learn about money. One book a month will set you on the path in 1 year to have a lot of knowledge with money. But if you don't like reading, get the book on audio. But you have to read and learn about something before you can actually be good at it, right? It helps you. It helps the learning process if you actually read about it, and then you put that reading or that learning into action by taking some type of action step. So my thing is this: you got to learn about money. Otherwise, you can't be good at it. Otherwise, you're just going to be a person that's like most people that don't have a lot of money, don't know about money, don't understand money. Money is not complicated. Now, I've done a couple videos explaining that just a few certain decisions with money is huge. But you've got to learn about it if you don't want to be poor. Number 6, the 6th habit that keeps people poor is caring too much about what other people think. That is going to keep you poor, because the one thing you're going to do is you're going to be trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're going to be trying to outspend what you earn. You're going to be trying to buy that new car, go on that vacation, get that purse or whatever it may be. You're trying to make yourself look a certain way because you care too much about what other people think. When you're on a money journey and you're trying to learn about money, read about money, make better choices, be patient with money, use cash, maybe not so much debt, people are going to look at you and they're going to ask questions. They're going to wonder, well, what's wrong with you? Or, you work all those hours and you can't get this for yourself or that for yourself. You have to be at the point where you don't care what other people say, what other people think. All right? Don't be the type of person that cares too much about what other people think, because that will keep you in poverty. I guarantee you. Number 7, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm a real estate guy. I like real estate. I think real estate is a perfect way to begin to build wealth. One of the habits of poor people, or people that remain poor, is they rent and rent and rent and rent for 10 and 20 and 30 years. Now, if you want to break that cycle, and I'm a person that never owned a piece of property until I was 30 years old. I never even lived in a piece of property that was owned by anybody I knew until I was 30 years old. So I understand the cycle of not being able to understand real estate, but this one is super important. You have to think about and participate in the real estate game if you want to break the cycle of poverty. If you understand and begin to invest in real estate, even if it's just you buying your own primary residence and refusing to rent, because renting is okay in some instances. I'm not totally against it, but in most situations, after about 5 or 10 years, you need to start buying a property. You need to start looking at a property. Matter of fact, probably for most of us, immediately, in a year or 2 or 3, when you're able to financially, as soon as possible, buy a piece of property. I don't care if it's rental property, commercial property, multifamily, you live on one side of the duplex and somebody lives on the other, whatever it is, get yourself some real estate. Finally, number 8, the eighth habit that poor people get in the cycle of doing, get in the habit of doing, is every time they make more money, they spend more money. That will keep you in poverty. If you want to break the cycle of poverty, you've got to be to the point where you can make more money and not spend more money. Because every time you make money, and you'll make more money as you get older and older, move along in your career or whatever you're doing with your life, you're going to make more money. As you make more money, you have to do the very best you can to not spend more money. It's difficult, especially in the times we live in this society we live in, where there's, opportunities to spend everywhere you go. There's advertising, everybody's marketing stuff to you. But you've got to come up with enough discipline to say, look, I make more money now, but I'm going to spend the same as I spent before. That was a huge, huge key for me and my family in terms of our wealth, is the ability to say, hey, we make more money now, but it doesn't mean we had to go out and spend more money. That is discipline. Listen, those were my 8 habits that keep people poor. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing and please smash the like button. Remember, the best person to take care of the old you is the young you. Until the next video, peace.